Okay, everybody. Well, welcome to MindShifting with Mitch on LMC Media. I want to thank again the people from LMC Media, and here's to hoping that the village of Mamaroneck continues to contribute its share, because LMC Media is such a key ingredient in our community. And I'm here on MindShifting with Mitch, and I'm with two young men from Mamaroneck High School, Zakir Strugatskiy and Gary Hackett, and they've been part of the OCRA program. And this is going to be really interesting because we're going to be talking about mental health and youth mental health and research that they did. So, first of all, Zakir and Gray, thank you so much for coming, and maybe talk a little bit about, like, are you seniors in high school? You know, what's your background?
Well, thank you so much for having us. Me and Gray are both seniors. We have been a part of the OAK program for 4 years. It starts freshman year with like a basic introduction into how local and state government works. Then we go into like some deeper research into topics we care about. Then you form groups. And then as a group, starting halfway through sophomore year, you pick a goal that you want to fix in the local community. You reach out to people, community stakeholders, and you implement a project to address that goal.
So, great. Just you said Zakir mentioned that in the beginning you learned a little bit about how government works. Just what made you choose OCRA? And I guess even backing up a little bit before that, does OCRA stand for anything other than the vegetable?
OCRA stands for Original Civic Research and Action. And I can't speak for Zakir, but I chose OCRA because my parents wanted to be more involved in high school when I was coming into as freshman. And OCRA was a morning class. It was just an additional opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So it was either doing that or science research. So I thought that I could contribute to my community through civic research and action. So I picked OCRA.
Now, from somebody who is not really in government that much, my impression is that to say how government works is a misnomer because, in my purview, government does not work. So tell me why I'm wrong.
Well, government has been around since like the foundation of people. It's been like in some way, shape, or form, people have been in charge of other people.
Mm-hmm.
And in the United States, because of the large separation of powers between the town, the county, the state, and the federal government, a lot of times it seems like things aren't working, and at sometimes they aren't. But then you see like Governor Hochul is trying to pass a bill guaranteeing $17.5 million to students to be educated in mental health first aid, which takes time, but it is in the process of getting done. So government does work, but it is really slow, and it seems like nothing is changing. But over time, small bits change, and we overall achieve progress.
Mm-hmm. And Gray, what's your view?
Well, my view, in the context of OCRA, I would say that I would agree with you that government working is a bit of a misnomer. The purpose of OCRA is that it teaches you the way local government functions. Like we learn, the split between the town of Mamaroneck and the town of Larchmont and the villages and how it's different. And we learn who governs what and where and the people who run the town and the village.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that's really what OCRA teaches you. It just teaches you to understand your community and who holds sway in your community.
And there was a politician many, many years ago, before either of you were born, who said all politics is local. So everything begins in the community, and that's where you can have, really the most impact. Maybe, Zakir, you could start talking about, how you came upon a project and what your project was.
So our project goal was to reduce mental health stigma in the high school population. We started off really broad. Me, Gray, we formed a group talking about mental health and something to do with mental health. At first, the project was affordable mental health care. And then we realized as a group of high schoolers, that's really hard to tackle, especially in a large area like our community, which is about 30,000 people. We reached out to a lot of different people. We reached out to the Larchmont Mamaroneck Community Counseling Center, a fantastic organization, and they mentioned that a lot of these issues start in school when students at the time don't understand what's going on with their mental health. And if we can address the students, then the community will become more mentally healthy.
And I would say that a lot of the research that I've done about mental health, it's not just that the kids don't realize that they have mental health issues. It's that the adults, the parents, the school, the facilities we have for working with the kids, is that they're looking at the behavior of the kids and they're thinking, oh my gosh, we have to, this kid is doing so and so, this is acting out. We have to address the behavior. Let's punish them, or let's establish more rules, and they don't get to the root. I mean, Gray, that's a lot of what your research showed, also, right?
Well, I would say that that's a large part of the program that we're looking to implement. It's called Mental Health First Aid, and part of it is teaching kids how to communicate with each other and talk about their mental health problems and find the appropriate sources of aid. But part of it is also teaching adults to do the same. So the teachers and
wait.
the educators
I
in the
thought
building-
adults were perfect.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect,
Oh, okay.
unfortunately. But part of Mental Health First Aid is also teaching teachers how to recognize when their students are struggling or when they need help and help them find the right words.
And when you were doing the research, you came up with some really interesting statistics about the prevalence of mental issues or emotional issues that kids have. Maybe you could share some of your findings from your research.
Yeah, so we ran a survey in our high school. I think it was about 260 students were surveyed, which is about 15% of our high school. And we found that the biggest thing that we were trying to survey was, are students comfortable talking about mental health? Because if they're not, then we can't even start to address the mental health issues themselves if students aren't comfortable talking about them.
Mm-hmm.
We saw that 60% of students don't know any of the school social workers or psychologists. We have 9 wonderful social workers and psychologists, and if students aren't aware of them, then how can they go to them? 50% of students feel stressed most days of the week, and 50% of those students say their stress inhibits them in their daily life. So
just could you say that again? 50% of students do what?
Feel stressed most days of the week.
Most days of the week?
Yeah. And then 50% of those students say their stress inhibits them in their daily life. So they can't perform the tasks that they would expect of themselves because they're stressed about school, family, work, whatever is going on in their life.
And it seems, and that data then really, reinforces the national data, which says that somewhere over 15% of kids across the nation are having are feeling mental stress, and because they don't have the tools to deal with it, are doing things like acting out, withdrawing, showing anger, and things that we would generally say are behaviors that we don't want to encourage, and the system isn't really helping them. I don't know, Gray, maybe you can elaborate on that, or what you found with talking to kids.
Well, if we're going to talk about the system, I would say that another statistic we found in our survey is that only 11% of the students at Mamaroneck High School feel like they can talk to any faculty or staff member.
Wait a minute. Can you say that again? 11% of kids
feel like they can talk to a faculty or staff member about their mental health.
That's a pretty alarming number. I mean, 89% of kids don't feel like they could that there's an adult that they could talk to about their mental well-being.
It's very low.
Right. Wow. And what do you think we should do about that?
I think that education has to come from both ends.
Mm-hmm.
Both faculty and staff and students need the education required to be able to have those conversations.
And just another piece of data that you may be aware of, but it's in Western civilizations, surveys have shown that 80% of parents who have kids who have mental issues feel that when they have talked to a professional about those issues, that they're being given blame, that they're being blamed rather than supported. And so that points also to the need for the education, which is what you're advocating for. And how did you go about doing your research? I know that you did a survey. You took the results of the survey, and then what happened?
So the survey process was actually a little bit complicated because it's a mental health survey. So a lot of the school administrators are worried that talking about mental health in some scenarios can increase the likeliness of mental health issues occurring. Some research has shown that, but if you talk about mental health in a respectful and normal way, it's less likely for that to happen. So we had to get approval from our 4 assistant principals and our principal, and then we had a social worker look at our form, make sure nothing concerning was going on. We did a statistical analysis.
So that must have been a little bit of like a gulp when you come up with an idea that you're going to talk to kids in order to air out issues about mental health and improve mental health in our community, and then all of a sudden you have these adults who are saying, "Whoa, wait a minute, you can't just do that." So, what was your attitude like when what happened when you had that obstacle?
Well, I would say we're partially lucky in that we had 2 adults who were able to support us through the entire podcast process. One is our mentor, Lena Pasquale, who is a mental health professional, and she was able to help us design the survey and make it, I would say, appropriate for a school setting.
This Lena Pasquale?
Yes.
She's really an incredible person.
Yeah.
She is really an
Yeah,
incredible person. And I would say that we're also lucky to have our OCRA teacher, Joe Liberti, who is
Now I heard he's
very-
not so good.
Yeah.
No, I'm
he's
just kidding.
great. He's very familiar with the administration, and he was able to help us. I would say we were able to greatly speed up the process because he
Yeah.
was able to help us find the right people to talk to and set up the meetings that we needed to be in
Mhm.
to get our survey approved.
Because it would have been easy at that point to hit the obstacle and then just say, I'm giving up, or you use blame, like I'm blaming the system, I'm blaming this person, I'm just a kid or whatever. But somehow or other you persisted and you used Lena and Joe, and they kind of guided you through the process of being resourceful and resilient and coming back and going, getting everything done so that you could proceed with your research.
Yeah, it was like a big help. We want to thank all our mentors. We have a lot of them. We've talked to a lot of community stakeholders, and they've guided us like heavily throughout our project. Lena, she's amazing. We also have Miss Fremder, one of our school social workers, who helped us a lot with the continuation of our project after we graduate, and also with the short-term solution that we came up with.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Moore, one of our assistant superintendents, he is a big proponent of our project. He actually saw a similar project implemented at one of his previous schools in New Jersey, so he understands how the process works and how it can actually increase mental health awareness and support so much through not a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like our mentors were amazing.
And as you were talking with the kids in the high school and you doing the survey, how was their attitude towards what you were doing?
Well, our survey was administered online
Okay.
through a Google form,
Mhm.
so we didn't interact with them live as they filled it out. But I would say we've had a receptive.
Yeah,
We've taught some lessons about like who are the social workers and psychologists at our
Right.
school, like just very basic information, and we put it out online through our weekly
Yeah.
new little news thing in the school called Tiger Time,
Mm-hmm.
and we've had very receptive audience, I would say.
So the social workers and the psychologists in the school were very receptive when the research came out, and the kids were. I'm putting words in your mouth, but the kids tended to be appreciative that they now knew of these resources.
Yeah, I think a lot of the time students don't know what they don't know, and they think, oh, well, I can just get through this because everyone else seems to be going through it.
Mhm.
But the people that they're talking about who are getting through it have the support. They either have an outside school support with family members, religious officials, or like a therapist, or they have internal support like one of the social workers or psychologists. So once people get comfortable saying like, hey, I'm not okay, but I'm doing okay because I have the support, more people will reach out when they're feeling iffy and be able to be okay.
And it's not necessarily true that you need support all the time.
Yeah.
It's generally, it very often manifests as kind of an acute thing. It's like, right now I need support. I have the support over the course of a month, 3 months, and then I'm back on an even keel. And maybe there'll be a flare-up some other time in the future, but I don't need support all the time, my guess is, right?
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I would say a lot of people are that way. Obviously, it's going to vary person to
Right,
person. Everybody
right,
needs different things. Some people need very little help in that sense, and some people need a little more, and both are okay.
So two of the things that we talked about earlier was that, only 11% of the kids at the start felt that they had an adult that they could talk to about their mental health, and that 50% of the kids felt that they were stressed, reasonably highly stressed, and that 50% of them, or a total of 25% of the kids, felt that that stress was preventing them from doing the things that they felt that they needed to do. Were there other results that came out as a result of the survey and the research that you were doing?
Yeah, we also surveyed, so according to New York State, health class is meant to address mental health and is meant to provide a destigmatizing idea and educate students about mental health. And a part of our survey was about health classes and does health class actually prepare them for that? And we found, what was it? It was 13% of students felt that health class helped them support themselves in a mental health struggle, and I think 11 believed that it helped them support others. So,
but that overlapped.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not like there's 24% of the kids who, maybe there was 14 or 15% of the kids who had a net benefit.
And it really shows that maybe partially because the curriculum is outdated, maybe because it's teachers speaking.
I think we should just fire the teachers, right? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I think it's partially because having an adult tell you reach out to people is a little weird as a high school student, because it's a grown-up telling you to do things, and you've been hearing things your entire life about do this, don't do that, this is bad, this is good, versus having an actual peer, someone who you're friends with, someone you look up to, be like, hey, so I've done this helped me, maybe you want to try it.
They also have very little time to impart a lot of information.
Yeah.
Right, in those classes. Right. And to a certain extent they feel that they have to get through the material, and there's a big difference between getting through the material and making an effect on kids. So given the fact that the mental health courses, I guess virtually everybody has to take them, right?
Yeah,
everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody has to take them. And it's what, a 6-week course, 8-week course?
So it's 20 class periods. Our class periods.
So it's 4 weeks.
Yeah, our class periods.
I did that in my head.
Our class periods are about 50 minutes ish.
Okay.
But keep in mind, in health class, everyone is required to take it, meaning you get a lot of kids who don't really care.
Right.
And from my experiences, a lot of people tend to sleep in that class.
Right.
So you could be talking to a classroom of about 15 or 50% of the students who are actually awake and listening. And then because, again, it's an adult telling you to do things, maybe 25% of the students actually learn anything.
Now, given the fact that the courses are required, 100% of the kids take it, maybe 15% of the kids are positively impacted by the courses, certainly less than 20%. Do you have ideas about what would make those courses more helpful to kids?
I would say 100%.
Yeah.
Our implementation of the mental health first aid program. It's designed to take, what is it?
So that would be changing the curriculum to the New York State mental health curriculum?
Yeah. So Kathy Hochul, our governor, is planning on passing a bill to guarantee that every single 10th grader, which is most of the time when health class is being taught in high schools in New York State, gets mental health first aid training. This was a program that was created in Australia about 20 years ago, adapted to the U.S. with some cultural changes, and it pretty much talks about...
So it doesn't feature rugby?
I don't think so. Maybe. I know they have a koala as one of their mascots, so some Australian things still return, but they have their mental health first aid action plan, which is ALGE, which is assess and approach, listen non-judgmentally, give reassurances, encourage support through outside resources,
and encourage appropriate self-help.
Yeah. So it's a really effective plan, and it also teaches students and teachers to recognize, hey, this is a symptom of a disorder that might be concerning. This is a sign. And it increases the ability for students to actually be able to talk about things. A lot of students are like, hey, I'm worried about my friend, but I can't really explain why.
Yep.
giving students the words to explain, hey, I think this person is struggling with anxiety or depression or something like that, and then bringing them to the resources, and also teaching the students how to talk about mental health to the resources is one of the most like phenomenal things to do. And doesn't actually take that long. It's about I think it's 6 sessions of 45 minutes.
Right.
Which I think the current health class curriculum for
There's
mental
20
health.
classes.
Yeah, 20 classes.
So this is 6 out of the 20.
Yeah. So
my background is instructional design, and systems design also. So in instructional design, part of it is the curriculum, and so changing the curriculum to incorporate this mental health first aid would be part of it. It also seems to me that a key element would be to have much more give and take in the classes. So it's not instructor directed curriculum, but it's instructor prompted conversations and and maybe small group work, so that kids get the students get to experience this and get to some peer-to-peer interaction using it.
yeah.
I would say, to their credit, I took health class a couple years ago, but I do remember doing a lot of small group work
Okay,
and having
okay.
a lot of discussions in the class.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that a lot of students don't, because it's a required class, you get a lot of different students come in, and there are some students who care a lot about learning about mental health class, everything, and then you get the students that don't care, and the ratio changes from class to class, and in some situations when there's a group of people who care and people who don't at all care, the group suffers, and you don't end up having any conversations that are actually meaningful. It's like, hey, you saw this fight that happened on school or something like that, not an actual conversation
Right.
about mental health.
And I'll say one of the precepts of instruction is that if a person doesn't see the need for learning something, the instruction could be great. They're just not going to learn it. So I'm going to turn it back on you two. So how could we build those classes, or how could we build a section of those classes to motivate more people to want to learn this?
Well, I mean, I hate to be so pragmatic, but I bet the fact that it's shorter than the health class education they were getting last year
Right.
will be appealing. And it's like, if you go and you learn, you pay attention for these 6 classes, it's a lot less work than having to go and take the tests for the 20 classes. That's definitely going to be appealing to a lot of people. And hopefully we could appeal to some curiosity.
Right.
Curiosity is the biggest factor in learning, I would say.
And then I think the very interesting thing about this program is that you actually get a certificate at the end, and in certain cases you can actually put that on your resume, and that can be showing like, oh, do you want to work with kids in the future? You can take this training in school for free, put it on your resume, and now you're more appealing to employers. So maybe something like that could incentivize students to pay attention a little bit more.
And I'm wondering if one started off the class and when talked to the students and used some of your data, like, do you understand that 50% of all kids feel stressed? Let's talk about that. And what's the implication for that? And what's the implication on our mental health of being stressed all the time? And how many of you are feeling stressed? And and if you had a way of reducing your stress, would you be interested in learning? And that might be a way to also interest people.
Yeah. I think the program itself is a very well structured program, because it's not a lot of like telling.
Oh, great. Okay.
It's a lot of like, hey, 15 minutes, here's the scenario that we're going to be looking at. Figure out how would you approach the scenario. Like, a person is struggling with their mental health. These are their symptoms. This is the person who's struggling. This is the person who's trying to address those issues. What would that look like?
Yep.
And then the instructor will walk around and be like, hey, that might not be the best idea, or you're on the right track, keep going. And that is a lot, I think, more significant than, for example, doing a poster board of mental health symptoms, having an actual conversation.
Wonderful. I think another aspect of this is wonderful is, you're both in high school, and through your research, you managed to change the curriculum and have people listen to you to change the curriculum to use the Youth Mental Health First Aid, YMHFA, to be incorporated in the Mamaroneck High School curriculum. That's got to make you feel pretty good, right?
Yeah, so this is like all in the planning stages. So unfortunately, or fortunately and unfortunately, it's like a two-sided coin. But for youth mental health first aid to be implemented in the high school, you need to have 10% of faculty trained in teen mental health first aid.
Okay.
So that would teach the teachers to support the students.
Mm-hmm.
Over the summer, we're going to be teaching the teachers. We're actually presenting to the teachers.
Wow.
About, hey, this is an opportunity for you guys to sign up.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I think, a day over the summer for the teachers to come in, learn. Lena Pasquale is actually going to be one of the instructors who's going to be teaching it.
Along with you, right?
No.
Because the official program is meant to be for only instructors, and we are not certified,
Right.
Yeah.
unfortunately.
We're very lucky, though, to have Lena, who is certified and willing to come in
Yeah.
and spend her time over the summer doing this for the school district.
It's like wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And once that happens, next year, the sophomores who are taking over our project will be implementing it. We'll be speaking with administrators, figuring out, okay, is health class the right option? Could we figure out another place?
Yeah.
And having those conversations, and then actually implementing the pilot
So
program.
you kicked it off. That's really
Yeah.
So it was the research and then the impact and the ongoing impact. That's pretty amazing. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So and as you were talking, part of me was thinking, a lot of the things that you're talking about that go into mental health are also included in like my first book. Which people see on the screen over here, my second book, which is on conflict and collaboration. But the first book was on MindShifting. It's about stop your brain from sabotaging your happiness and success. And one of the interesting things that came out of that book is one of the people who contacted me after reading the book is somebody who does have severe mental health issues. She gets hospitalized sometimes for weeks at a time because of her anxiety. And she actually read the book 3 times. She says, after reading the book, first of all, I now understand what the psychologists are telling me. And so, because it explained it in terms that she could implement. And she says, and it gave me the mechanisms to recognize earlier when I'm going off. And so, and some techniques then to come back on track. And so I'm able to do things on myself earlier. And if I realize that those techniques aren't working, I can talk to my, my therapists earlier, so I don't have to be hospitalized, and they can make some interventions. So, so I'd like to give each of you a copy of the book.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. This is
So I think,
amazing.
So hopefully you find it interesting. It's going to confirm a lot of the things that you found, but also give a lot of techniques, for yourselves, okay? But also as you work with others. So I hope you enjoy the book, and I'm curious, so what are your plans? I mean, you graduate in June, and then are you going off to work? Are you taking a year off? Are you going to college? What are you thinking?
I'm going to be enrolling at Goucher College next year. I'm going to play Division III tennis.
Okay. How good are you?
I would say I'm all right.
What position do you play? You play singles? You play doubles? You play both?
For the high school right now, I've been playing mostly singles 1 or singles 3.
Wow. Okay, so you are good. Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm enrolling at GW for psychology and brain sciences.
Mhm.
I'm not really sure what I want to do with that, but either
Wait, you're 18 years old and you don't know what you want to do the rest of your life? Come on.
Yeah, it's a big shocker.
I'm 70 and I don't know what I want to do with the rest of my life. So
Yeah, maybe I know that GW does a lot of research, especially undergraduate research, and I was thinking of maybe partnering with some of the existing projects at GW and maybe being a lab rat for a few years, and then maybe possibly running my own research.
that'd be wonderful, and because you both have head starts. So is there something that you'd like to leave people with? So people in the community are going to be watching this. They may not be aware of mental health issues. They may have mental health issues. They may not be aware of what's available in the high school. Maybe they have kids who are having problems. So for all those people, I'll start with you, Gray. Okay, what's something that you'd like to leave them with?
That's a very good question. What's something that I would like to leave them with? Well, I would hope that when you have the opportunity to think about how you feel or how others feel, that you're curious and not judgmental of yourself or others.
Wow, That's very powerful. Thank you. And Zakir?
Well, I think that the most important thing is be open to talking. Like,
Mhm.
it can be very uncomfortable to talk about very personal things, but if you open the door, somebody might come to you when they're struggling, and you can help each other, and you can actually find support by talking to somebody, even if they're like somebody that you might not really know that well.
Mhm.
You might be able to find support from somebody else.
Wow, amazing. Really, so be curious and be willing to talk. Great advice from both of you, and and it's hard to believe, right? These two are in high school, or they're about to finish high school. But basically, it gives you hope for mankind, right? When you see people like this who are coming up through the system, who take on new things, overcome obstacles, do independent research, and make an impact on our community. And so, thank you both for coming on the program. Thanks again to LMC Media. This is Mitch Weisberg with MindShifting with Mitch, and I'm signing off. Everybody, our next guest is going to be State Senator Shelley Mayer, and see you all then.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Okay.